What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of you for Bleach: The Thousand Year Blood War. This is episode 37, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah, well, similar to what they did with last week's episode with them focusing on Nemu, this episode focuses on, what was it, Nanao, who's, of course, well, most people, didn't know the actual relationship between Nanao and Shunsui, up until, right now. So we find out that...
Yeah, well, the same could be said as well for Nemu, because we didn't really know a lot about her, her and Mayuri's, I guess relationship, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of like how Kubo, I guess, saved that information for the final arc of the series, because there are a lot of characters in Bleach, and we do get a lot of their backstories, but then there are characters like Nemu or Nanao, where we actually didn't really know much about them other than, who they were in the present, but we didn't really know anything about their past or their backstory. So I kind of like how Kubo, I guess, saved that for the final arc of the series.
Yeah. So pretty much it stretches back, far back in the Shinsui's, I guess, during his mid-teens, when we find out that he has an older brother who ended up marrying someone from the Issei clan, who turns out to be Nanao's actual mother. But of course, Shunsui reveals that the person that his brother ended up marrying is part of the Issei clan, who's like a matriarchal family of priests, who apparently they have this curse in which all the male members who end up marrying into that family end up dying of young age.
Yeah, and apparently the reason why, I guess, Nanao herself doesn't really have a Zanpakuto is I guess due to this curse, and that if she wielded the Zanpakuto, then she would also be inflicted with the curse.
Yeah, and it's a special type of Zanpakuto that's passed down from generation to generation, and shortly after Shinsui's older brother ended up passing away due to the curse, I think Nanao's mother wanted Shinsui to make a promise to look after this Zanpakuto. But in the process, she ended up getting executed by Central 46 for having to lose the sacred weapon. So Shunsui has been keeping this Zanpakuto safeguarded for many years, and he's actually kept it alongside his second Zanpakuto spirit. I forgot what the name of the Zanpakuto spirit, but
I think it was Ohana.
Ohana. I think Ohana was the older one. I think there was that second.
Oh, you mean the other one? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So and of course we go through Nanao's childhood of how she went through the Soul Reaper Academy, how she said that she wasn't able to manifest her own Zanpakuto, and how she ended up joining Shinsui's squad in the first place. I mean, I could have to assume that Shinsui arranged Nanao to be in his squad in the first place.
Yeah, most likely, because she said she originally wanted to join the Kido division because she didn't have any particular skill with the Asuichi. So she didn't really want to join it, I guess, any of the 13 Core Guard squad. But yeah, I'm sure that's how it happened, because she said she doesn't know. She didn't know how she was assigned to that squad. But yeah, so it basically what was happening as well in the present was that I keep forgetting his name, but the Quincy that Shunsui was fighting, apparently he's still not dead, because he immediately gets pierced by, I forget I think it was called Light of Heaven or something like that.
I think he calls it the Light of God or something like that.
Light of God, yeah. And I mean, so he's already this Quincy's already had taken like a pretty crazy form, in their fight. But now he's I can't even describe this. Like he takes the form of some kind of
Yeah, like
a
he has
bird creature.
he has a
Um,
neck of a snake with the face of an owl. Uh,
yeah.
so and, and he pretty much mocks Shunsui like that he's a mockery to God or something like that or
Well, yeah, and
whatever it
he
is.
sees himself as a god, I guess, in that form. And of course, conveniently enough, we mentioned that the Zanpakuto that Nanao has is not really. Well, we find out that it's not really meant to. It can't cut anything. It's more of a ceremonial sword or something like that, and it was used in I guess her family like rituals, and it's specifically meant to like reflect back the light of God, or which of course
It's
conveniently
yeah,
works for
it's so convenient that he
yeah.
has a weapon like this that can easily just defeat this Quincy because he has the light of God and such.
Yeah. So basically, because of the condition that Shunsui is in, Nanao, well, is able to at least temporarily like hide him, but they eventually kind of get well. She decides to go by herself to fight, to try to fight off the Quincy with now having wielded, now that she has the Zanpakuto, because Shunsui kind of reluctantly ends up giving it to her because he didn't really want to, of course, because as we know, if she did wield it, she would take on the curse. But she basically resolves herself that she's willing to do that basically in order to try to protect or save Shunsui. So she ends up going out to fight this Quincy, and does end up cutting him a little bit, but it doesn't really seem to do much, because he somehow I didn't really see how it happened, but she ends up getting cut on one of her legs, and like right before she's basically like bracing herself for this attack where he's I guess like well we see what it ends up doing is just completely like wiping out part of the of the new Quincy palace or whatever.
Yeah.
It creates like this crescent shape, like just hole in it. But now doesn't really know, is now kind of doubting herself, and she's never really. I mean, it makes sense because as far as we know, she's never really been. I don't think in like really been in a fight, so to speak. Like she's kind of been in the background, so she's like really not sure what to do, just probably because of how inexperienced she is. But that's when Shunsui comes out to actually like help her wield the Zanpakuto properly, and of course ends up reflecting the light back on this Quincy, and eventually killing him.
I mean, assuming if he's really dead, because
Yeah, I mean, because of course we thought that he was dead last time, but he somehow came back from that. But I think he probably is dead now for sure. But yeah, it definitely took a lot to kill this guy, and I never would have assumed that this Quincy, like who's just like a sniper basically. Like I never would have guessed that this would be like the form he takes, or that he would be as powerful as he is. So I mean, yeah, I wasn't really expecting that.
yeah, and of course Shinsui and Nanao are looking to rejoin the others, but of course Shinsui collapses from his injuries and decides to take a rest for a bit. So that's supposedly where this episode is going to end, and hopefully this guy is dead for good this time. I mean, we
I mean, we only have like a few more episodes, right? So I mean, I would assume he has to be.
Yeah, I mean, we only have like a couple of more episodes left. I mean, this season went by pretty quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, and last week's episode also ended on that cliffhanger with Basby confronting Hashwalls.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the next episode will probably pick up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought this was a good episode. Like it was very similar to the other episode we got with Nemu. Where we, there wasn't a lot we knew about Nemo either, but then we got all that information, like, in that episode right before she pretty much died.
I mean,
and then in this episode,
assuming he is really dead.
Yeah. In this episode, we get that backstory with, where, we have before gotten a lot of information about Shunsui. But here we find out there's even more to what he did in the past, especially with him in the now. So I mean, it was also like we learned more about Shunsui himself.
Yeah,
A lot of things we didn't previously know, like his brother, and his relationship with Nao's mother.
yeah, and also like Shinsui's also is also conflicted and wanted to take somebody else's responsibility, over everything else because we know like he had to take over as the head captain. He his best friend just died just a few episodes ago, and he had to take in like
Yeah,
like he had to like take like the sacred Zanpakuto from his sister-in-law for for a variety of reasons. So now I mean now yeah he's taking a lot of responsibility from pretty much everyone he's known over the years.
well, and now he has to deal with potentially Nanao being inflicted with the curse herself,
Yeah,
unless he can come up with some way to stop that. But
I mean it's
um,
unlikely. I mean he kind of had to use it as a last resort against this guy.
yeah. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was a great episode. I like I've was interested to see more of Nao's backstory and also just more about Shunsui. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it though. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, it's been a good 2 episodes, showing us the history with a lot of the side characters that we don't really get to see that really often in comparison to like all of the main characters we see in the show. But yeah, it's a good side story to know a lot of the side characters.
Yeah. But yeah, guys. So that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.